There's a lot going on with Disney and Marvel, and they're trying to right the ship as best they can. I'm going to show you some evidence for that in a second, but I wanted to talk about this. Deadline article just for a quick second. Disney CEO Bob Iger overwhelmed and exhausted during company slump. Well, that's funny because the entire reason that Disney is in the disastrous position that it is in right now is because of Bob Iger. This is his disaster. Before Bob Chapek even jumped on to take over as CEO when that happened, Bob Iger had already had the company moving in that direction. Pretty much everything that Chapek dealt with during his time as CEO was because of Iger and the hole that Iger had put Chapek in. That had a lot to do with Iger. And now it's great that Iger's back because now all of the problems that are hitting the company now are his making. And that's what makes it really funny, at least to me. So he's exhausted and overwhelmed by the disaster he created, as Nerdrotic puts it right there, and he is absolutely 100% correct on that statement. Now, what I wanted to talk about was this. So this is very interesting. Marvel's Daredevil Born Again to undergo creative overhaul with new head writers. I don't understand why you just don't bring back the Netflix people. Why don't you bring back everybody that worked on that show? Because they seem to have a pretty good grasp of what to do with Daredevil. Because those first 2 seasons of Daredevil were amazing. The third one's okay. The first 2, though, I think, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels this way, but those are the best live-action Marvel anything, those first 2 seasons, in my opinion. And they're really good. I don't know why you just don't bring back everybody that was responsible for that. But they're not going to do that. But they're also not going to move forward with everybody that was attached to this before because they've fired everybody. They got rid of the directors. They got rid of the writers. Everybody is completely gone. They fired everyone. The reason why they're doing that is because they know they're in trouble. I guess the show wasn't working, so they had to pivot real fast and get things changed so that they could salvage this show. Because their mass-produced slop isn't quite done yet. They still have the Marvels. They still have Agatha. They still have... I don't even think they've shot Agatha, actually. What a mistake to move forward with that show. You think you would cancel that and put all of your aces in another hand or something? Like get rid of that and devote all the resources that you had for Agatha into something that's actually what people want. Nobody wants that stupid-ass Agatha show. But... they have the Marvels and they have that Echo show, another piece of shit show nobody wants. That's so bad they're going to drop everything at once. That's what the rumor is anyway. That show is going to be a disaster. So they still have 2 more pieces of shit to put out. And then they can kind of retool everything and try to fix all of this mess that they're in and maybe save the Marvel brand. Because I don't know about you, but I don't see any enthusiasm for Marvel products anymore. I don't see any enthusiasm for Loki. There was none for Secret Invasion. Other than Guardians of the Galaxy, all the Marvel stuff that's been put out this year, nobody's really gave a shit about. Then you compare it to One Piece, which has phenomenal word of mouth, and everyone's excited about it. All of the merchandise and anime and the manga, it's all like picking up in views and readers. Then you have Marvel, which can't capitalize on anything. Let's take a look at this story. Following a production pause in mid-June due to the writer's strike, Marvel Studios is planning on bringing in new scribes and directors on the Charlie Cox series after determining the show wasn't working. Head scribes Chris Ord and Matt Corman and episodic directors for the remainder of the series were let go. Corman and Ord will remain EPs on the 2-season series. So they're gonna keep them as executive producers, which means they're just keeping them on to be happy. They're really gonna have no say at all. So they'll still have their names attached to this. So that's good for them. Like, hey, our names are attached for this, but they'll probably have little to do with it at all. So they've just, instead of completely firing those two, they've kind of just moved them into the corners. Daredevil, which first aired on Netflix, follows Cox as Matt Murdock, a blind crime fighter. Less than half of the series' 18 episodes were shot. Marvel plans to keep some footage through the series, though the series will pivot and become a procedural show to have a more serialized focus. So they've actually shot a lot of this, and they're going to scrap it. That's what it sounds like to me. They're going to keep some of it and scrap a lot of it. This is a big problem with Marvel, but they don't really have a choice here. Marvel does this shit all the time, and it's what balloons the budget. Now this is going to have a balloon budget because they've shot half of the episodes, and they're going to scrap most of it. So what a mess. Kevin realized finally that he can't just slop out bullshit and people will just show up and pay them money for it. Since adding a slew of Disney Plus streaming series on its plate, Marvel Studios has seen its plate overfilled. The studio, in its billion-dollar grossing and Ace Cinema Score movies, is known for producing high-quality tentpoles. However, declining grosses, audience and critical reception on some series and films post-pandemic, Eternals, Ant-Man, is coming as a wake-up call for Kevin Feige, and that he wants to take greater care and quality control in the product moving forward. Well, you're going to have to get rid of your writers, number one. That's the best way to do it right there. The rest just goes on about some of the stuff coming, but a very interesting read. Maybe a lot of those bad writers are going to get the boot now, finally. That would be a good thing. But I really don't understand, like I said, why don't you bring back the people that were attached to the Netflix Daredevil? I mean, that just makes the most sense. Those people already obviously have a grasp of this character. Anybody that's a fan of this character and watched that show that I know loved it. So I really don't get the logic there in not bringing back those people. Bring them back. Let them make a good show. In fact, just continue it from where it left off on Netflix, or at least vaguely connect it instead of rebooting everything. That's just stupid. All of that shit already fits in with Marvel anyway. I don't know. Marvel, they need to turn it around, man. Maybe this is a good sign. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and Locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.